I want to reveal to you why these words hold such tremendous power and how you can use them to manifest everything you've ever desired. You see, most people spend their entire life searching outside themselves for power, for permission, for validation. They believe their desires must be achieved through hard work, struggle, and external forces. But I tell you this, all power resides within your own consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you are acknowledging the fundamental truth of existence. You are recognizing that the force that moves the stars and grows the flowers is the same force that flows through your consciousness. Let me tell you something profound about these 4 words. When you speak them, you're not making a mere affirmation. You're declaring your true nature, your essential being. You're acknowledging the creative force within you. Consider this. Every great achievement in human history began with someone recognizing their inner power. They didn't wait for external permission. They didn't seek validation from others. They understood that all power flows from within. You see, most people have it backwards. They say, when I have this, then I will be powerful. But I tell you this, you must first assume your power, and then all things become possible. These 4 words, I am the power, are not just words to be spoken. They must be felt. They must be lived. They must become your dominant state of consciousness. Let me share with you what happens when you truly embody these words. The entire universe must reorganize itself to reflect your new self-concept. This is not metaphysics. This is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you want to manifest. But I tell you this, manifestation is not about getting something you don't have. It's about revealing what already exists within your consciousness. When you declare, I am the power, you're not creating power. You're acknowledging what has always been true. This recognition changes everything. Your entire world must shift to align with this declaration. You see, most people approach manifestation like beggars, hoping and wishing for their desires to be granted. But when you know I am the power, you approach life as a creator, knowing that what you decree must manifest. Let me share something profound about consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything you see in your world is simply consciousness made visible. Therefore, when you declare I am the power, you're literally reshaping your entire universe. Think about this. Every morning when you wake up, you're either reinforcing your powerlessness or claiming your power. There's no neutral position. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is either aligning with I am the power or denying it. You see, these 4 words are not just a positive affirmation. They are a recognition of the fundamental truth of your being. When you truly grasp this, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. Most of you have been taught to look for power in external circumstances, in money, in relationships, in social status. But I tell you this, all these things are merely effects. The cause lies in your consciousness. Consider what happens when you truly know, I am the power. You no longer beg, you no longer plead, you no longer hope. You simply decree, and by law, your decree must manifest. Let me share with you why these words are so transformative. When you declare, I am the power, you're shifting your entire self-concept. You're no longer seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as the creator of circumstances. You see, most people spend their lives reacting to what they see. But when you know I am the power, you understand that what you see is simply your consciousness pushed out. Therefore, to change what you see, you must change your consciousness. Think about this. Every great achievement began with someone knowing they were the power. They didn't wait for conditions to change. They changed conditions by changing their consciousness. Let me share with you what happens in the depths of consciousness when you truly embody these 4 words. Your entire world begins to reorganize itself to match your new self-concept. You see, most people believe their circumstances dictate their state of being. But when you declare, I am the power, you reverse this process. Your state of being now dictates your circumstances. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no middle ground. When you truly grasp these four words, you cease giving power to external conditions. Let me tell you something profound about manifestation. When you know I am the power, you stop asking how things will manifest. You understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your problems, your limitations, your obstacles. But I tell you this, these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. You see, when you truly embody these four words, you enter a new dimension of being. In this dimension, problems don't need to be solved. They simply dissolve in the light of your consciousness. Think about this. Everything you see in your world right now is the result of your previous concepts about yourself. Change the concept by knowing I am the power, and your world must change. Let me share with you the true meaning of these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a positive statement. You're acknowledging your true identity. Most of you have been taught to look for causes outside yourself. But when you know I am the power, you understand that you are the only cause in your world. Consider this carefully. Every condition in your life right now is simply a shadow of your consciousness. When you truly know I am the power, you cease fighting shadows and start changing consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformative nature of these four words. When you declare I am the power, you're not just changing your thoughts. You're changing the very foundation of your reality. You see, most people live their entire lives believing they're victims of circumstances. But when you truly embody I am the power, you understand that circumstances are merely reflections of consciousness. Consider what happens when you wake up each morning knowing I'm the power. Suddenly, obstacles become opportunities. Problems become possibilities. Every challenge becomes a chance to demonstrate your creative power. Let me share something profound about these words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a future promise. You're claiming a present reality. This distinction changes everything. Most of you sit here thinking about what you want to create in your future. But I tell you this, there is no future creation. There's only present assumption. When you know I am the power, you understand that what you assume now must manifest. You see, these four words are not just a statement. They are a complete shift in consciousness. When you truly embody them, you cease looking outside yourself for anything. Think about this. Every time you say, I can't, or it's too difficult, you're denying these four words. You're giving your power away to external conditions. Let me tell you what happens when you consistently maintain this consciousness. Your entire world must reshape itself to reflect your new self-concept. Most of you have spent years accumulating evidence of your limitations. But when you know I am the power, you understand that all past evidence is irrelevant. Only your present assumption matters. Consider this. Every great achievement in your life began with a shift in consciousness. When you knew you could, you did. These four words simply make this knowing permanent. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that most will never understand. When you declare, I am the power, you're not just making a statement. You're activating the very force that created the universe. You see, most people spend their lives waiting for permission to be powerful. They wait for the right circumstances, the right credentials, the right moment. But I tell you this, the only permission you need is your own recognition that I am the power. Consider what happens in your world when you truly embody these words. Your relationships change because you no longer seek power from others. Your work transforms because you no longer depend on external validation. Your entire life shifts because you're operating from a new dimension of consciousness. Let me tell you about the subtle shift that occurs when you consistently maintain this state. You stop asking, when will my desire manifest? Because you understand that manifestation is not a future event. It's a present moment recognition. Most of you have been taught that power is something to be acquired. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power is your natural state. Everything else is learned powerlessness. You see, these four words challenge everything you've been taught about. Cause and effect. When you know I am the power, you understand that consciousness is the only cause and everything else is effect. Think about this. Every time you say, I hope or I wish, you're denying these four words. You're placing power outside yourself in some future event or external circumstance. Let me share with you what happens when you maintain this consciousness consistently. Your entire world must rearrange itself to match your new self-concept. This is not theory, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your current limitations, your future obstacles. But I tell you this, all of these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten I am the power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There is no neutral ground. When you truly grasp these four words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me reveal to you the deeper meaning behind these four words. When you declare I am the power, you're not making a casual statement. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental creative force of the universe. You see, most people live their entire lives believing that power lies in their actions, their resources, their connections. But I tell you this, all these are merely expressions of consciousness. When you know I am the power, your actions flow from this knowing. Consider what happens when you approach each day from this consciousness. You no longer wake up wondering what the day will bring. You wake up knowing that you bring to the day whatever you decree in consciousness. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs when you live from these four words. You stop seeking validation from others because you understand that all validation comes from within. You stop fighting circumstances because you know that circumstances are merely shadows. Most of you have spent years trying to change effects while leaving the cause untouched. But when you declare, I am the power, you go straight to the cause, your own consciousness.
You see, these four words contain within them the secret of all creation. When you truly embody them, you understand that everything in your world is simply your consciousness pushed out.
Think about this. Every time you blame external conditions for your state, you're denying these four words. You're giving away your creative power to shadows. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes natural to you. You stop asking, how will this happen? Because you understand that the power that knows the way will make the way. Most of you sit here thinking about what's possible and what's impossible. But I tell you this, possibility and impossibility exist only in consciousness. When you know I am the power, all things become possible. Consider this. Every limitation in your life right now exists only because you've accepted it in consciousness. When you truly embody these four words, all limitations dissolve. Let me share with you something profound about these four words that will forever change how you view manifestation. When you declare I am the power, you're not just speaking words. You're awakening to your true identity. You see, most people spend their lives seeking power through achievement, through accumulation, through recognition. But I tell you this, all seeking ends when you realize that you are what you've been seeking. Consider what happens when you truly grasp these words. You stop looking for signs, you stop waiting for permission, you stop seeking approval, because when you know I am the power, what else could you possibly need? Let me tell you about the shift that occurs in your relationships when you embody these words. You no longer need others to complete you, to validate you, to empower you. You become complete within yourself, and paradoxically, this completeness attracts more fulfilling relationships. Most of you have been taught that power comes from doing. But when you declare I'm the power, you understand that power comes from being. Your doing then flows naturally from your being. You see, these four words revolutionize your entire approach to manifestation. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to unfold from your consciousness. Think about this. Every time you say, I'll try or I hope, you're actually denying your power. You're placing the fulfillment of your desires in some uncertain future. Let me share with you what happens. When you maintain this consciousness consistently, your entire world must reshape itself to reflect this new self-concept. This is not magic, this is law. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about what you need to do to manifest your desires. But I tell you this, Manifestation is not about doing, it's about being. When you know I am the power, the doing takes care of itself. Consider this. Every great achievement in history began with someone knowing their power. They didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They understood that conditions respond to consciousness, you see. Most people spend their lives in reaction mode, responding to circumstances, adapting to conditions. But I tell you this, when you know I am the power, you create circumstances, you determine conditions. Consider what happens when you approach each moment from this consciousness. You no longer see problems as obstacles, you see them as opportunities to demonstrate your creative power. Let me tell you about the transformation that occurs in your financial world when you embody these words. Money ceases to be something you chase and becomes something you attract through your consciousness of abundance. Most of you have been programmed to believe that success requires struggle. But when you declare, I am the power, you understand that success is simply the natural expression of your consciousness. You see, these 4 words completely transform your relationship with time. When you truly know I am the power, you cease postponing your good to some future date. Think about this. Every time you say, when I have this, then I'll be powerful, you're denying your present power. You're placing your power in external conditions. Let me share with you what happens when this consciousness becomes your natural state. Your entire experience of reality shifts. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most of you sit here tonight thinking about your past failures, your present limitations, your future uncertainties. But I tell you this, all these are merely shadows cast by a consciousness that has forgotten its power. Consider this. Every moment of your life, you're either expressing power or expressing limitation. There's no middle ground. When you truly grasp these 4 words, you cease giving power to anything external. Let me share with you the final and most crucial understanding about these 4 words. When you declare I am the power, you are making the ultimate declaration of independence from all external influences. You see, tonight marks a turning point in your life. From this moment forward, you will never again see yourself as powerless. You will never again give your power away to circumstances, to other people, or to past experiences. Consider this moment right now. As you sit here absorbing these words, you have a choice. You can continue living as you have been, seeing power as something outside yourself, or you can claim your true identity by knowing I am the power. Let me tell you what your world will look like when you fully embody these words. Everything that once seemed like an obstacle will become a stepping stone. Every challenge will become an opportunity to demonstrate your creative power. Most of you came here tonight seeking answers. But I tell you this, the only answer you need is already within you. It is the knowing, the absolute conviction that I am the power. You see, these 4 words are not just a technique or a method. They are a complete revolution in consciousness. When you truly embody them, your entire world must transform. Think about tomorrow morning when you wake up. Will you rise as the same person who came here tonight? Or will you rise knowing I am the power, ready to create your day consciously? Let me share with you this final truth. There's no power outside of you. There never was and there never will be. All power resides in consciousness, and you are that consciousness. From this moment forward, let every breath you take be a reminder that I am the power. Let every heartbeat affirm this truth. Let every step you take be from this consciousness. Remember, you are not becoming powerful. You are simply recognizing what has always been true. You are the power that creates worlds. You are the power that moves mountains. You are the power that transforms lives. Tonight, make this sacred commitment to yourself. Promise that you will never again deny your power. Promise that you will never again give your power away. Promise that you will live every moment from the consciousness that I am the power. For this promise lies your freedom. In this recognition lies your transformation. In this knowing lies everything you have ever desired. Go forth now, not as seekers, but as knowers, not as hopeful dreamers, but as conscious creators, not as victims of circumstances, but as masters. For when you know, truly know, I am the power. Nothing in this world can stand against you. Nothing can deny you. Nothing can limit you. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your power. Now rise up and claim it. Rise up and live it. Rise up and be it. For you are the power. You have always been the power. And you will always be the power. Let this be your final understanding, your ultimate truth, your eternal knowing. I am the power. And so it is. Just begin by understanding a fundamental truth. Your feelings are not a reaction to the world around you, but rather they are the cause of the world you experience. This may sound strange to those of you who have been taught that your emotions are simply responses to external events. But I tell you, it is the other way around. Your emotions, your inner states, are the very substance from which your external reality is formed. Think of it this way. The world you see around you is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state of being. Just as a projector casts images onto a screen, your consciousness projects your inner states onto the screen of space and time. And just as changing the film in a projector changes the images on the screen, changing your inner state changes the world you experience. Now, you might be thinking, but Neville, surely you can't deny the reality of the challenges I'm facing. How can I feel good when I've lost my job? Or when I'm facing a serious illness? Or when my relationships are in turmoil? And to this I ask you to deny the existence of your current circumstances. I ask you to deny their power over your inner state. You see, your circumstances, no matter how dire they may seem, have no inherent power to make you feel anything. Your feelings are not determined by what happens to you, but by your interpretation of what happens. And this interpretation, this meaning you give to events, is entirely within your control. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Imagine two people who have just lost their jobs. One falls into despair, feeling hopeless and defeated. The other feels excited, seeing this as an opportunity for a new beginning, a chance to pursue a long-held dream. Same external event, vastly different emotional responses. What makes the difference? It's not the event itself, but the meaning each person assigns to it. Now, you might be thinking, but surely some events are inherently negative. Surely some circumstances are objectively bad. And to this I say, there is no objective reality outside of your consciousness. What you call reality is simply a reflection of your assumptions, your beliefs, your habitual thought patterns. This is not to say that challenging circumstances don't exist. They do. But their power to affect your emotional state is entirely dependent on your choice to give them that power. You always have the ability to choose your response, to choose how you will feel regardless of external conditions. But why is this so important? Why should you strive to feel good when everything seems to be going wrong? The answer lies in the creative power of your emotions. Your feelings are not just responses to your world. They are the very substance from which your world is created. When you consistently feel good, when you maintain a positive emotional state, regardless of external circumstances, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You're tuning your consciousness to the frequency of your desires, rather than the frequency of your current circumstances. Think of it like this. Your emotions are like a radio tuner. When you feel negative emotions, fear, anxiety, despair, you're tuning into the frequency of lack, of limitation, of things going wrong. But when you choose to feel good, to feel positive emotions regardless of circumstances, you're tuning into the frequency of abundance, of possibility, of things going right. And here's the key. The universe can only give you more of what you're tuned into. If you're tuned into the frequency of lack and limitation, that's what you'll continue to experience. But if you tune into the frequency of abundance and possibility, that's what will begin to manifest in your life. This is why it's so crucial to remember to feel good, especially when everything else seems to be going wrong. Because in those moments, when it's most challenging to feel good, that's when it's most important. That's when you have the greatest opportunity to shift your reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this just putting on a happy face and pretending everything is fine when it's not? And to this I say, this is not about pretending or faking positive emotions. This is about understanding the true nature of reality and your role as a creator. You see, when you truly understand that your inner state is the cause, not the effect of your external reality, feeling good becomes the most logical, the most practical thing you can do. It's not about ignoring problems or pretending they don't exist. It's about recognizing that the solution to any problem, the path to any desire. Let me give you another example to illustrate this point. Imagine you're in a dark room fumbling around, trying to find the light switch. The longer you fumble in the dark, the more frustrated you become. The more things you bump into, the more chaos you create. But the moment you find the switch and turn on the light, everything changes. Suddenly, you can see clearly. You can navigate easily. You can put everything in order. Your emotional state is like that light switch. When you're in a negative emotional state, you're fumbling in the dark. You can't see solutions. You can't find opportunities. You create more chaos and confusion. But when you shift to a positive emotional state, when you remember to feel good, it's like turning on the light. Suddenly you can see clearly. Solutions become apparent. Opportunities reveal themselves. Order replaces chaos. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, but Neville, how can I possibly feel good when I'm in the midst of real problems, real challenges? And this is a valid question. It's easy to feel good when everything is going well. The real test, the real opportunity for growth and transformation comes when you can maintain a positive emotional state in the face of adversity. So how do you do this? How do you remember to feel good when everything else seems to be going wrong? The key lies in your imagination. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is, in fact, the very workshop in which you create your reality. When circumstances seem dire, when problems seem insurmountable, that is the moment to turn to your imagination. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine a reality where your problems are solved, where your desires are fulfilled. Feel the relief, the joy, the excitement of that reality. Let those feelings fill your entire being. Now, some of you might be thinking, but isn't this just fantasy? Isn't this just escapism? And to this I say, your imagination is not a place to escape reality. Your imagination is the very place where reality is created. You see, what you imagine with feeling, what you experience vividly in your mind's eye, is not separate from reality. It is reality in its nascent state. It is reality not yet manifested in the world of physical senses, but no less real for that. In fact, it is more real because it is the cause, of which your physical reality is merely the... When you imagine a better reality, when you feel the emotions associated with that reality, you are not engaging in idle fantasy. You are engaging in the most powerful, the most practical act of creation. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind the reality you wish to experience. And your subconscious mind, which knows no difference between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced, begins immediately to bring about the conditions and circumstances that match your imagined reality. This is why it's so crucial to remember to feel good, especially when external circumstances seem to be at their worst. Because in those moments when you choose to feel good despite appearances, you are exercising your true power as a creator. You are asserting your dominion over your reality. Now let's address another common concern. Some of you might be thinking, but Neville, if I feel good when things are going wrong, aren't I just deluding myself? Aren't I ignoring reality? And to this I sigh. What is reality? Is it only what your physical senses show you at this moment? Or is it the infinite field of possibilities that exists in your imagination? You see, what you call reality is simply the outpicturing of past thoughts and feelings. It's the harvest of seeds you've planted in the past. But at any moment, you have the power to plant new seeds, to imagine and feel a new reality into existence. This doesn't mean you ignore your current circumstances or act irresponsibly. It means you acknowledge your present situation while simultaneously holding in your mind and heart the reality you wish to experience. You live in two worlds at once. The world of physical senses and the world of imagination. Knowing that the latter will eventually replace the former. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Suppose you're currently struggling financially. You wouldn't ignore your bills or pretend your debts don't exist. You would continue to manage your current finances responsibly. But at the same time, you would live from the state of financial abundance in your imagination. You would feel the relief of having all your debts paid. You would experience the joy of having more than enough money for all your needs and desires. You would feel the security of an abundant bank account. And you would carry these feelings with you throughout your day, even as you're dealing with your current financial situation. This is what it means to remember to feel good when everything else is going wrong. It's about holding two realities in your mind simultaneously while emotionally residing in the reality you desire to experience. Now, some of you might be wondering, but how long will it take for my imagined reality to manifest? How long do I need to maintain these good feelings before I see results? And to this, I say, time is a construct of the human mind. In the realm of pure consciousness, where all creation takes place, there is no time. Your desire is fulfilled the moment you assume it to be so. The time it takes to appear in your physical reality depends on many factors, including the naturalness of the desire, your ability to maintain your assumption, and the current conditions of your life. But here's the key. Don't concern yourself with the when or the how. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and to live from that state. The universe will take care of the details. Trust the process. Know that what you have assumed must come to pass by universal law. Remember, creation is finished. All possible realities already exist. When you assume a new state, when you choose to feel good despite challenging circumstances, you're not creating something new. You're simply selecting a different reality from the infinite array of possibilities that already exist. You're tuning your consciousness to a different frequency, so to speak, and thus experiencing a different version of reality. This understanding should free you from anxiety and impatience. There's no need to worry about whether your desire will manifest. It must, for it already exists. Your only task is to align your consciousness with it through your assumption, through your choice to feel good regardless of external circumstances. Now let's talk about an aspect of this principle that many people overlook. When you truly understand that you always get what you want, that the universe is constantly responding to your assumptions and delivering experiences that match them, how can you not feel profound gratitude? Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion. It's a powerful creative force. When you feel grateful, you're affirming that you already have what you desire. You're living from the state of fulfillment, of abundance, of your wish realized. And in doing so, you're aligning yourself even more powerfully with that reality. So cultivate an attitude of gratitude, especially when circumstances seem challenging. Be thankful not just for what you already have in your physical reality, but for what you've assumed in your imagination. Feel the gratitude of already being, doing, or having what you desire. This gratitude will transform your entire experience of life. You'll find yourself appreciating the present moment more fully, even as you're assuming a different state. You'll see the beauty and perfection in all things, recognizing them as expressions of the same divine consciousness that you are. Now, I want to address something that often comes up as people begin to apply these principles. They start to wonder, if feeling good is so important, what if I can't maintain positive emotions all the time? What if I have moments of doubt, fear, or negativity? My friends, it's important to understand that the goal is not to never experience negative emotions. Negative emotions are a natural part of the human experience. The goal is to not dwell in these negative states, to not let them define your overall emotional climate. Think of it like the weather. Just as there will always be some cloudy or rainy days, there will always be some moments of doubt or fear. But just as a few cloudy days don't define the overall climate, a few moments of negativity don't define your overall emotional state. The key is to not resist these negative emotions when they arise, but to acknowledge them, accept them, and then choose to shift back to a positive state. Remember, you always have the power to choose your emotional state, regardless of circumstances. One powerful way to shift your emotional state is through the use of affirmations. But not just any affirmations, affirmations that you feel to be true. You see, the power of an affirmation lies not in the words themselves, but in the feeling behind the words. For example, if you're facing financial difficulties, simply repeating, "I am wealthy," might feel false and create inner conflict. Instead, you might affirm, "I am open to financial abundance," or "money flows to me easily and frequently." Choose affirmations that feel true to you, that create a sense of possibility and excitement when you say. Another powerful technique for maintaining a positive emotional state is visualization. Spend time each day visualizing your desired reality in vivid detail. See it, hear it, feel it, taste it, smell it. Make it as real as possible in your imagination. As you do this, pay attention to the feelings that arise. Let yourself fully experience the joy, the excitement, the relief of having your desire fulfilled. These feelings are the bridge between your current reality and your desired reality. Now, some of you might be thinking, "But Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring about the changes we desire?" And to this I say, of course, action is important, but it's not the kind of action most people think of. You see, most people believe they need to take action to make things happen. They believe they need to struggle, to strive, to force things into being. But this kind of action often comes from a place of lack, of fear, of trying to fix something that's perceived as wrong. The kind of action I'm talking about is inspired action. It's action that flows naturally from your assumed state. When you're consistently feeling good, when you're living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you'll find yourself naturally taking actions that align with that state. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, effortless, even joyful. You'll find opportunities presenting themselves to you. You'll have intuitive flashes of insight. You'll be in the right place at the right time. This is because when you're in alignment with your desire, when you're feeling good despite challenging circumstances, you're in harmony with the creative power of the universe. You're allowing that power to work through you, guiding your actions and orchestrating events in ways that you could never plan or force. Now let's address another common concern. Some of you might be thinking, "But Neville, what about other people? What if my ability to feel good is dependent on how others treat me or what they do?" And to this I say, no one and nothing outside of you has the power to determine your emotional state. You see, other people, like everything else in your reality, are simply playing the parts that you've assigned to them through your assumptions. If you assume that your happiness depends on others, then that will be your experience. But if you assume that your emotional state is entirely within your control, then that will be your reality. This doesn't mean you become indifferent to others or that you don't care about your relationships. It means you take responsibility for your own emotional state, regardless of how others behave. It means you choose to feel good, to maintain a positive emotional state, regardless of what others say or do. And here's the beautiful thing. When you do this, when you maintain your positive state, regardless of others' behavior, you'll find that others begin to reflect that state back to you. Remember, the outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. As you change, your experience of others will change too. Now let's talk about persistence. Remembering to feel good when everything seems to be going wrong is not always easy. It requires persistence, practice, and patience. There will be times when you slip back into old patterns of thought and emotion. There will be times when circumstances seem so challenging that it feels impossible to maintain a positive state. It's not about being perfect. It's about consistently returning to your desired state, no matter how many times you slip. It's about making the choice again and again to feel good despite appearances. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument. At first it feels awkward. You make mistakes. It doesn't sound good. But with persistent practice, it becomes more natural. The movements become fluid. The music begins to flow. And one day you realize you're playing beautifully without even thinking about it. The same is true with maintaining a positive emotional state. At first, it might feel forced or unnatural. You might find yourself slipping back into negative states frequently. But with persistent practice, it becomes easier. It becomes more natural. And eventually, it becomes your default state. Now I want to address something that often comes up as people begin to apply these principles. They start to worry about being selfish or uncaring if they focus on feeling good when others around them are struggling. But I assure you, maintaining your positive state is the most loving, the most compassionate thing you can do. You see, when you choose to feel good, regardless of circumstances, you become a beacon of light in a world that often seems dark. You become a living example of the power of consciousness to transform reality. You inspire others not through preaching or lecturing, but through your very being. Moreover, when you maintain a positive state, you're in a much better position to help others. Think about it. Can a drowning person save another drowning person? You need to be standing on solid ground. Or better yet, in a boat, to be able to throw a lifeline to someone who's struggling. In the same way, when you're mired in negative emotions, when you're overwhelmed by challenging circumstances, you're in no position to truly help others. But when you're grounded in a positive state, when you're living from the state of your wish fulfilled, you have the stability, the clarity, and the resources to make a real difference in others' lives. Remember, too, that your state of consciousness affects not just your own experience, but the collective consciousness of humanity. Every time you choose to feel good despite challenging circumstances, you're elevating the entire human family. You're adding your light to the sum of light, making it easier for others to find their way out of darkness. As we come to the close of our discussion, I want to leave you with this final thought. Remembering to feel good when everything else is going wrong is not just a technique for manifesting your desires. It's a way of life. It's a recognition of your true nature as a divine being, as a creator of your reality. When you consistently choose to feel good, regardless of external circumstances, you're declaring your independence from the world of effects. You're asserting your true power as a cause. You're aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe itself. This is the great secret, the great truth that all the mystics and sages throughout history have pointed to. Your emotional state, your inner world, is the source of your entire life experience. As you master your inner world, as you learn to consistently feel good despite appearances, you become the master of your destiny. My dear friends, I urge you, remember to feel good, especially when everything else seems to be going wrong. For in those moments when it's most challenging to maintain a positive state, that's when it's most crucial. That's when you have the greatest opportunity to transform your life and to contribute to transformation in our world. Go forth now, armed with this knowledge, and put it into practice. Choose to feel good no matter what. Live from the state of your wish fulfilled. And watch as the world around you transforms to match your inner state. For this is the true art of living, the true science of creation. This is your birthright as a divine being. Claim it, live it,